the feints, the foot movement, the way he lands shots. He fights like a boxer. He doesn't fight like a guy who's trying to box in a celebrity boxing match.
Let that sink in.
Jake
That's
Paul,
right
Gervonta Davis is so crazy. 135 versus 200.
That is, if I'm not mistaken, a 92-pound weight difference. Almost a 100-pound weight difference. It's insane. Let's say he comes in at 200 pounds. It's still a 65-pound weight advantage, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Joe Rogan has once again stirred the combat sports world with his bold prediction ahead of the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis showdown. The UFC commentator didn't hold back, claiming that Jake Paul's sheer size and weight advantage could end Tank's career if the two finally step into the ring. Rogan emphasized that while Gervonta is one of the most explosive punchers in boxing, he's simply too small to handle someone with Jake's power, reach, and physicality.
My opinion is, I just want to say, in case someone calls me into court, I'm a fucking idiot and I don't know nothing. And don't take my advice.
I love the Saudis.
Don't take my opinion.
I love the Israeli government. I love everybody.
That had nothing to do with them. That was Jake Paul promoting it. You know, it's just like, doesn't bother me.
There's compromising the sport, and that's like bad. It's just like
if I bet on it,
watching it with people who are so in on it, and then also man, the sports betting apps, they introduced like chat apps in them in Australia, so it's like they're trying to take the place of social media companies where you go together and you meet your friends. Like betting should be exciting enough without having a weird.
They're just trying to draw you in. Thing. They're just trying to make money, right? So they're trying to draw you in.
Rogan acknowledged that Jake Paul has legitimately developed as a fighter. He said that if Paul were any other boxer, without the YouTube background, his rise would be remarkable because he knows how to fight, shows real ring awareness, and isn't just flailing around. But Rogan also strongly warned that the fight with Gervonta Davis carries a heavy risk. He pointed out that Davis is on a completely different level in terms of skill and knockout power, and that if Paul takes this lightly, it could end badly.
What do you think of this Jake Paul fella?
I always say that if Jake Paul was not a YouTube star, people just looked at him like an up-and-coming boxer, you would say, this kid's got a lot of fucking talent. He's dangerous. I think his strength is that they underestimate him because of what his background was. And they think there's no way that some guy who became famous off of YouTube is going to be an actual legit boxer. If you look at what he's done, he's a very good boxer.
Jake Paul didn't hold back as he admitted, "I would destroy him in the ring, given the size." That raw assertion, even wrapped in a nod of respect for Gervonta Davis's skill and patriotism, instantly ignited backlash. Critics say it erodes the seriousness of the matchup, reducing it to bravado rather than sport. With Paul towering near 200 pounds as a cruiserweight and Davis reigning at lightweight, the vast size disparity further amplifies fears that this isn't just a mismatch, it's reckless showmanship.
I'd be down. Let's run it. Like, I'd be super, super down.
I don't know if Gervonta needs Jake Paul. Let's be clear, right?
Is there a height limit in boxing?
For Tank, there's no way that this goes well for Tank Davis. Because if he wins, they go, oh yeah, world champion. Of course you were supposed to beat that YouTuber. If he struggles but wins, they go, ooh, Tank is washed. He struggled against Jake Paul. He still won, but he had a hard time. And then, of course, if he loses to Jake Paul, and him and boxing lose their credibility.
Rogan's commentary surfaced alongside various announcements. The bout, now slated for November 14th, 2025, at the Kaseya Center in Miami, will be an exhibition 10-round card streamed on Netflix. The catch weight is reportedly 195 pounds, a considerable leap above Davis's usual fighting weight at lightweight approximately 135 pounds, and well above Paul's recent cruiserweight outings.
My point still stands where it stands. Jake Paul wins this fight. I already bet Gervonta Davis in the DMs. We locked the bet. Guys, it's obvious Jake wins this fight. If you guys know anything about fighting, you know about weight classes. You know that Jake's been training for actual years. He's been locked in.
Oh my days. Jake Paul versus Tank Davis. Is this real? This can't be real. Because he was talking about fighting Joshua, which is heavyweight. And now he's saying about fighting Tank. Nah, this can't be. It's Netflix as well. I need to go and do some checks and see if like the main pages have posted this. But Jake Paul's posted it. It says Friday, November 14th. It's in Atlanta, State Farm Arena. This is random, no?
Beyond Rogan, boxing professionals and analysts have weighed in on the matchup, and their perspectives underscore concern, caution, and, in some cases, outright skepticism about the legitimacy or safety of the fight.
Oh, Jake Paul is fighting Gervonta Tank Davis. Chilaquiles, chilaquiles.
Musty energy, musty energy, musty energy.
Oh, it's musty, and I say that respectfully. Per Mike Hoppinger in the Ring magazine, Gervonta Tank Davis, freshly off his domestic violence charges being dropped, will get into the ring with Jake Paul in Atlanta with a proposed date of November 15th. Lord child. Get your hand out of my pocket! Tank weighs about 135. Jake Paul weighs about 200-something pounds. So obviously this will be at a catch weight, and this possibly will not be a sanctioned fight where it will count on anybody's records. But I'm going to tell y'all like this. Tank fans, you niggas down bad. The hatred.
Musty energy.
You niggas is down bad. Tank basically on the back half of his career, according to my brother Nestor Gibbs from the Boxing Voice. This man, Gervonta Tank Davis, said, I am not fighting no Shakur Stevenson. The man said, I'm not even going to rematch Lamont Sanat. The man just said, I'm not even thinking about fighting Dev Dollars, Devin the Dream, Debo Haney. I am going directly into Jake Paul. I've been told you that Tank was the black Jake Paul. Tank been the black Jake Paul. Man ain't care about legacy. Man ain't care about none of that, bro. Tank fans, you niggas down bad. Protect your fighter. It is musty at the highest level. And poor Lamont Sanat, it might be over for Lamont Sanat. He got to fight somebody. You might need to fight Gary Russell Jr. right now. Tank Davis, Lord Child, Jake Paul, boxing down bad. This about to make a lot of money. The only plus in this is that Alicia Baumgardner, a.k.a. Bomb Amy, might be on this card. I would love to see Alicia Baumgardner back on Netflix. That is a plus, and my man Lucas Body might get on there as well, and Avius Griffin. So it might be a movie as far as the undercard. Tank Davis, you down bad, bro. Boxing is absolutely disgusting and musty at the highest level. Get it together. Tank is a 30-plus-year-old prospect at the back end of his career. He on his Mayweather-McGregor at the age of 30. Lord child.
The head trainer for Davis, Calvin Ford, admitted the fight is risky because of the logistics and size gap, but claimed, "We signed the contract, we're gonna make it do what it do." He focused not on size, but on glove size. The teams are negotiating whether lighter or heavier gloves will be worn. Ford pointed out that Davis often fights with 8-ounce gloves and suggested Paul take 10-ounce and Davis 8-ounce to balance things.
My only concern is, the gloves. You understand what I'm saying? Because we don't fight in 12-ounce gloves. We don't use 12-ounce gloves. That's training gloves, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's 2 pounds away from Jake. He fights in 10s. Tank fighting 8s, so he losing 4 ounces. So my thing is, I said, they said, put Tank in 8s, put him in 10s. That makes the fight more interesting. You know what I'm saying? And we'll go from there because I understand. And I brought that question up to one of his handlers. They was, no, we don't want to do no mixed match. It's supposed to be an expedition. Why does it matter? What, now y'all want the wins and the loss. You know what I'm saying? All these prescriptions, but you want to be great. Being great is really pushing the envelope. You know what I'm saying? Tank don't really care, So when I brought this up, he said, dang, facts. You know what I'm saying? So, again, he can weigh the 10s and we weigh the 8s. Then we got to fight.
Ford explained that at first the team was gearing up for a rematch with Lamont Roach Jr., but when the chance to face Jake Paul emerged, they felt they were blessed to take it. He said the Roach rematch made sense in purely sporting terms, yet the Paul fight offered far greater exposure and financial reward. Ford defended the decision by emphasizing that Gervonta Davis has earned these kinds of opportunities, and sometimes a fighter must step through the bigger door when it opens, even if it's not the most obvious competitive path. The proposed fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis has run into major regulatory pushback. The Georgia Athletic and Entertainment Commission declined to sanction the bout in Atlanta because of the enormous weight difference between the two fighters. Its chairman, Rick Thompson, was particularly blunt, calling the event the dumbest I've ever heard and dismissing it as a money grabber. When Paul's promoters sought a weight class waiver, the commission balked, citing concerns that a mismatch of this scale was not a very safe fight. As a result, the fight has been moved to Miami.
USA Today, the chairman of the Georgia Athletic and Entertainment Commission, the commission that is going to be voting whether or not to approve Tank Davis and Jake Paul. His name is Rick Thompson. He has some very choice words for Jake and Tank fighting. He says it's the dumbest ish he's ever heard. It's a money grabber, and he's not okay with that. And he doesn't like the arrogance of Tank Davis and Jake Paul announcing their fight, marketing their fight, having press conferences and shit before the commission can vote whether or not they're going to approve the fight. He calls it arrogance. Their concerns, obviously, the weight discrepancy between the two. In the state of Georgia, two competitors cannot outweigh each other by more than 9 pounds. Tank and Jake Paul's team have already submitted a rule waiver request to get that rule waived. And Rick Thompson also said in this article that he is expecting the committee to put it to a vote as to whether or not they're going to approve this fight on September the 18th when they're meeting again. Also, we got some insight that USA Today tried to reach out to other members of the committee, and all of them declined to comment on what's going on. But what I do know is that the Georgia Athletic and Entertainment Commission, it's a 5-person panel that's going to be voting on this Tank Davis, Jake Paul shit.
Meanwhile, former world champion Amir Khan weighed in as well, calling the fight disgusting and expressing concern that such exhibition bouts with significant mismatches could lead to real injury or damage the sport's standing. He pressed the point that weight classes and proper sanctioning matter for a reason. He went further to suggest that by taking this kind of fight instead of challenging a real top-level boxer, Davis is contributing to making the sport a joke. In Khan's view, Davis could be chasing money and spectacle rather than ring prestige. He remarked that while Davis is an elite talent, stepping into the ring under these terms, with a big weight and size discrepancy, raises serious concerns about safety and the sport's integrity. Overall, Khan's message is clear. This isn't the kind of fight a serious champion should be taking.
There's a few boxers out there who are frowning at Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis fighting in an exhibition bout. You know, they can frown, but one fighter has been more vocal than the rest, and that's Amir Khan. The thing with Amir Khan, you know he's always been about his Wu-Tang cream, dollar bill, y'all. Now he's mad because Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul figured out a way to rob the bank, like Mayweather and Conor McGregor did. Amir Khan out here talking about, you know, someone's gonna get hurt. This needs to stop. That's why people respect MMA so much. You don't see these fools trying to go over to MMA and do what they do in boxing. There needs to be some kind of control. He pulled a Eubank Senior on us. Parliamentary procedure. I'm like, what the fuck? Anyway, if Amir Khan had an opportunity to fight Jake Paul, all it is, hey, guys, let's do the right thing and stop this social media nonsense. All fighters should stick to fighting, whether boxing or MMA. We shouldn't be crossing over, doing this misfit shit, fighting YouTubers or fighting Jake Paul.
On this fight,
a really bad mismatch. And you know what? Whoever the promoter is and that's agreed Gervonta to fight, and whoever the promoter is to fight for Jake Paul to say fight this little man. I mean, that's wrong, man. I mean, that's just like torturing someone. Yeah, I mean, going in there and hurting someone is just not fair on Davis. But like, say you don't know what position Davis is in. I heard that he's been having a lot of legal problems and been arrested a couple of times for a couple of felonies and stuff I've seen with his ex-wife and stuff. So you know what? You don't know what's going through his head. Maybe he just wants to cash up and walk away from the sport. And maybe this is a great opportunity for him where he's seen this fight come up and he's like, fuck it, I'll take it. But, yeah, I mean, Yeah, I think they're making boxing a joke, really.
Yeah.
One day someone's going to end up getting hurt so badly, then it's going to definitely destroy the sport.
Meanwhile, Shakur Stevenson didn't mince words about the planned bout between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul, calling it a terrible idea because of the massive size differential between the two fighters. He argued that Davis should be seeking out a legitimate boxing challenge rather than stepping into an exhibition that, in his view, undermines the sport's integrity. Stevenson emphasized that Davis could earn far more by shading the spectacle and instead taking on a true elite, suggesting a real unification bout would be far more fitting. Essentially, Stevenson framed himself as the logical boxing opponent for Davis and portrayed the Paul fight as a money move rather than a meaningful sporting contest.
You got your eye on Tank. What do you think about the rumors of Tank and Jake fighting?
Man, Tank disrespectful to the sport if he choose that over fighting with me. I'm the best fighter in the sport. I've been telling him that. And he called cap on it. So if you gonna call cap and say I'm not who I say I am, come prove it.
Maybe he'll fight Jake Paul instead. What do you think of that?
I think that's terrible.
Why?
I mean, I get it because at the end of the day, it's the money business, and you want to make the most money. But from what I'm hearing, he can make more money in a fight with me. And if that's the case, why not fight me?
Sure. Do you think he beats Jake Paul?
Do I think he beats Jake? Yeah. I mean,
There's a huge size advantage, though.
it is, but I think Tank got the skills to make sure he come out on top.
Do you think that Jake has gone better?
Yeah, I think actually Jake got tremendously better from the time frame that he started till now. And in the right situation, I also could see him become a world champion.
Really?
Yeah.
KSI has openly criticized Jake Paul over his fight with Gervonta Davis, labeling the matchup as a disgrace to boxing. He expressed his disappointment with Paul's choice of opponents, suggesting that Paul is avoiding a bout with him, KSI, and instead opting for easier challenges. KSI's comments reflect his ongoing frustration with Paul's approach to the sport and his desire for a legitimate fight between the two.
I mean, look, with Jake, the guy's been ducking me or running away from me for so long, man. Like, he's just making excuse after excuse. And now he wants to fight Tank. I mean, it just says the type of guy Jake Paul is. He only fights someone if he has a major advantage. Anything that's close, or anything that could actually be a decent fight, he runs away from it. So
Teofimo Lopez describes the Paul versus Davis matchup less as a battle for titles or pride, and more as a showcase, one driven by spectacle and profit rather than legacy or rankings. He points out that there's no shame in that, since both fighters stand to earn massive paydays and the allure of mainstream attention is guaranteed. Although this fight might not carry the prestige of a championship fight, Lopez believes it still offers value. By drawing in non-traditional audiences and generating buzz, even an exhibition-style bout can serve boxing. It can spotlight the sport to new fans, expand its reach, and remind people of how big boxing can be when personalities, dramas, and showmanship are all part of the deal.
Very happy for Gervonta and Jake. I really am, man. It's good for the sport in some way, you know?
So a heavyweight versus a lightweight.
Yeah.
You got a fly hit me, yeah. A heavyweight versus a lightweight. How's this going to work?
Hey, they make it work. It's an exhibition for a reason. So, you know, they know what they're doing. And, you know, shout out to Netflix and shout out to both of them, honestly. Like I said, I think a lot of people in the boxing world are kind of upset. I could care less. I think they're going to go out there and make their money. It falls on the number 8 for a reason. They're going to make a lot of money.
Have you got a prediction for that fight?
My prediction? A show. A show.
Well, clearly it's a show, but when you've got a lot of people underestimating Jake Paul once again, but when you've got a heavyweight boxer who knows how to throw punches and knows the basics against a lightweight, it's quite a difference. I mean, have you sparred heavyweights before?
Yeah.
For competitive sparring in the ring?
Yeah, it's not the same. It's not the same, not at all. Definitely got to move. I've actually played around a few times, went through between their legs just to duck around. But yeah, because they're taller, you know.
Despite repeatedly warning about the massive size gap between Paul and Davis, Joe Rogan has also made it clear that Tank's talent cannot be underestimated. On his podcast, Rogan praised Davis as one of the most explosive punchers in the sport, with elite timing, precision, and ring IQ that few fighters can match. He cautioned Jake Paul and his team against assuming that size alone will guarantee victory, emphasizing that Davis has the kind of knockout power that can change a fight instantly, even against a bigger opponent. Rogan concluded that while Jake's physical advantages are real, Tank's technical skill and experience make him far too dangerous to take lightly under any circumstance.
Gervonta Davis is like that. Their technique's so dialed in that when you watch them uncork, it's like, oh my God, the efficiency of it. A giant fan of the guy. I just loved, as a person who like really enjoyed technique, I like watching someone who's exceptional at it. I always admired guys who were able to find like the shortest path connecting with a shot, where it's just like the technique is so dialed in.
Yeah.
You know, there's guys that like.
Do you agree with Joe Rogan's take, or do you believe Tank will silence the doubters once again? Share your predictions in the comments.